Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyofbaking.com. Today we're going to make low-fat brownies, and this is what they look like. This is a more cake-like brownie. It's soft and moist, little chew to it, and it has a really nice chocolate flavor. So the first thing you need to do is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius. And then you will need an 8-inch square baking pan, that's 20 centimeters. And I'm going to just spray it with one of the non-stick sprays, so we're not adding any fat. And then I'm just going to line the bottom of the pan with a piece of parchment paper. So if you have an electric stand mixer like I have here, use your paddle attachment. You could use a hand mixer, or really you could mix this just in a bowl with a wooden spoon. Now when I mean low fat, what I'm saying is this brownie recipe is a lot lower in fat than most of the recipes out there. And one way we do that is to reduce the amount of butter we're going to use. Most recipes use a half a cup, 113 grams. And what we're going to do is we're going to reduce that down to a third of a cup, 75 grams of butter. I'm using unsalted, have it at room temperature. Now another choice, if you want to even reduce your saturated fat, is you could use one of those soft buttery spreads, the ones that are an oil blend. You could, I mean, that's perfectly fine. And it, like I said, it reduces your saturated fat. So what I'm going to do is just going to beat this just until it gets nice and creamy. Okay, and now I'm going to add, again, we're going to cut back on our sugar. We're going to add 2/3 of a cup, 135 grams of granulated white sugar. A lot of recipes call for a full cup, 200 grams, so that's good. So what I'm going to do is beat this medium speed just until it gets all mixed together. Okay, so next I'm going to add 1 large egg, and have your egg at room temperature. And then for flavoring, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract. And I'm just going to beat that in. Okay, so as always, scrape down the sides and the bottom of your bowl as much as you need to make sure everything gets mixed together. And now, in a separate bowl, I have a third of a cup, which is 45 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. And another way we're cutting back on our fat is we're not using semi-sweet chocolate. A lot of brownie recipes call for that. What we're going to do is add a third of a cup of, which is 35 grams of unsweetened Dutch processed cocoa powder. And I'm just going to sift that because cocoa powder just does tend to have lumps. And then I'm adding 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking powder. That's going to give a lot of lift to our brownies. Plus it, gives it that nice light cake-like texture. And then just a 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. And I'm just going to whisk. You could sift it all together, but I'm just going to whisk it. I want to make sure it's all mixed together. And then I'm going to put that in here, along with a 1/4 cup, that would be 60 milliliters, 60 grams. Now you could use either a sour cream or a plain yogurt. Again, cut back on the fat. You could use a light sour cream or a low-fat yogurt. And I'm just going to mix this in. Okay. Pretty simple. We're done. Scrape that off. And then still a little cocoa powder flour around the sides, so I'm just going to mix that in by hand. Okay. Now I'm just going to And then with the back of a spoon, or I'm going to use an offset spatula, we're just going to spread the batter out into our pan. Try to get it as even as possible. So now, everyone's oven is a little different. These bake really quickly. Probably, I find in my oven about 15 minutes. So, you know, you might want to even check it a little before that just to make extra sure, because you do not want to overbake brownies because then they're kind of dry and nobody likes that. So what we're looking for is they will rise, it will be set, and what's going to happen is you can also tell by they're going to start to separate just a little from the sides of the pan, so that's when you know. But the center is going to look a little soft, so keep that in mind. So about 15 minutes. Okay, so our brownies are done. So place your pan on a wire rack. As you can see, nice rise. They are starting to pull away from the sides of the pan and still soft in the center. So what I'm going to do is let them cool completely, and when we come back, we will try one. Our brownies have cooled to room temperature, so take a knife and you can cut your brownies, whatever size you want. But I'm going to get, for this size pan, I'm going to get 16 brownies. And then turn the pan. So, and then take an offset spatula or a knife, and that first one is always, always hard to get out. So we'll see how we can do here. Not too bad. So there we, kind of falling apart there. That's the first one. So let's give it a try. It's still nice and soft, a little warm. Oh. It's very cake-like. It's soft, it's moist, and it has, using cocoa powder, I really like the flavor, and especially the Dutch process. I find I really like the flavor. So try these, and you can store these several days. I tend to put them into the refrigerator, probably 3-4 days, or you can freeze them. So until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of JoyBaking.com.